All right, in this station, we're going to take a look at language, and it's actually going to be two parts. We're going to start off by talking about pronouns, and then we're going to end the station talking about homophones. Let's first review our pronouns. So we have subject pronouns that can replace a subject in a sentence. If I look at the left-hand column in green, these are singular pronouns: I, you, he, she, or it. Notice she's over there on the right as well. Those are referring to one person or one object. The ones in orange are plural pronouns. We, meaning more than one person, and usually I'm included. You could mean that singular or plural, because you could refer to like a group of people. Like I said, you as in the class, if I was addressing the class. And then the last one is they. So I'm talking about other people, but it's more than one person. Today we're going to listen to some sentences and we're going to replace the pronoun with a noun. So the ball bounced down the sidewalk. I would replace it with the ball with it because it's an object. So I would say it bounced down the sidewalk. How would I change this sentence with a pronoun? The men took the train. First, think about the sentence and the subject of the sentence. Men is the subject. It means more than one. So I would say they took the train. What if I said my family and I went to the movies? My family and I are the subject. So I would say we went to the movies. Think about this sentence. Rachel is in my class. What is the subject and what pronoun would you choose to replace it? She is in my class because Rachel is one person. What about Juan likes video games? Juan is one person. He likes video games. And I added the word play in that time, but that's okay. It doesn't change the subject and the pronoun that we would use. So today we're going to focus on relative pronouns. Relative pronouns refer to or replace nouns or pronouns. What is special about relative pronouns is that they can join clauses or sections of a sentence together. So we have two main categories. We have people and we have things. So when we talk about people, we're using who, whom, or whose. We can also look at things or ideas, and we could use the pronouns that, which, or whose, but we're going to be focusing on the people side of this chart today. All right, so here are two sentences. I'm going to read them to you, and I want you to tell me what they have in common. I met my new neighbor. My new neighbor just moved here from France. You heard me repeat my new neighbor or new neighbor. The subject is what's repeating. If I change that and combine those two sentences, I can say, I met my new neighbor who just moved here from France. The relative pronoun in this sentence is who, which refers to the noun in the sentence, my new neighbor. So who is used in this sentence because the relative pronoun refers to or replaces the subject of the sentence. Neighbor is the subject, so the relative pronoun is who. So I'm not repeating. So it's another way of making sure that I don't repeat or overuse the subject. Let's take a look at these two sentences and think about how you would combine them. I like my piano teacher. I have known my piano teacher for years. If I combine the sentences, it would be, I like my piano teacher, whom I have known for years. So the subject of the sentence is my piano teacher, and the relative pronoun is whom. A helpful way to decide whether to use who or whom in a sentence is to think of the sentence in the form of a question. If the answer to the question is she, he, we, or they, all of which are subjects, use the relative pronoun who. If the answer to the question is her, him, us, or them, all of which are objects, use the relative pronoun whom. For example, who or whom always likes to be on time? The answer would be she does, or he does, we do, etc. Does that answer the question she? So the correct relative pronoun would be whom. Who. So looking back at this sentence, I like my piano teacher who I have known for years. The relative pronoun is whom. The noun is my piano teacher. So whom is used in the sentence because the relative pronoun refers to or replaces the object in the sentence. Instead of it doing something, the subject, or something is being done to it, the object. When talking, people use relative pronouns who much more than whom. When talking to a friend instead of writing, someone might say, I like my piano teacher who I have known for years. Using who instead of whom when talking is acceptable. It's okay when talking to be more relaxed and informal about whether to follow every grammar rule. But it's different when writing. Writing is more formal or official, so it is important to follow grammar rules. When writing, be careful to use whom when referring to objects of a sentence and who for referring to the subject of the sentence. Let's read these last two sentences. My friend's dog ran away. My friend was really upset. I would rewrite it to say, my friend whose dog ran away was really upset. The relative pronoun is whose, and it's referring to the dog that belongs to the friend. So in this case, the subject is the friend, the dog is the object. Let's take a look at 4.3. I really like the chart at the top of 4.3 because it gives the relative pronoun as well as when it should be used. So the relative pronoun who refers to or replaces the subject. Whom refers to or replaces the object. And whose indicates possession or somebody owning something. So we're going to read each pair of sentences and combine each pair of sentences into one sentence using the appropriate relative pronoun. You're going to make sure you're using correct capitalization and punctuation. I'm going to read the example followed by all 5 questions, and then I'm going to ask you to pause the video to combine the sentences. I asked Elizabeth for a pen. I sit next to Elizabeth in class. Number 2, my neighbor's flowers are pretty. My neighbor loves the garden. My brother likes to tell jokes. My brother is funny. Number 4, I gave the tourist directions. The tourist was lost. My sister is smart. My sister works at the library. So looking back at the example, Tom is in my class. I borrowed Tom's book. Tom is what's being repeated. So I'm going to combine the sentences to say, Tom, whose book I borrowed, is in my class. The book belongs to Tom, so that's why I'm using whose instead of who or whom. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and answer questions 1 through 5. And when you're finished, hit play to see if your sentences match mine. All right, now let's take a look at how I combine the sentences and make sure that yours look the same. I asked Elizabeth for a pen. I sit next to Elizabeth in class. I combine the sentences to say, I asked Elizabeth whom I sit next to in class for a pen. In this sentence, Elizabeth is an object. I am the subject in the sentence, so I use whom to replace Elizabeth. Number 2, my neighbor's flowers are pretty. My neighbor loves to garden. My neighbor whose flowers are pretty loves to garden. I use whose because the flowers belong to my neighbor. My brother who lies, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It should say my brother who likes to tell jokes is funny. Typo there. So my brother is the subject, so I'm replacing the repetition of my brother with who. Number 4, I gave the tourist who was lost directions. The tourist is the subject, but they are also a group of people, so that's why I'm using who. And number 5, my sister who works at the library is smart. So the my shows possession. It's somebody that belongs to me or is connected to me. She doesn't belong to me, but she is the subject, so that's why I'm using who. Nice job. All right, keep 4.3 open because I'm going to have you do something at the end of our next section at the space at the bottom of page 38. Let's take a look at homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. So two, and two are an example. Two, TWO, refers to the number. TO refers to do something, and TOO means also. Four and four are another set of homophones, Four, FOUR, is the number four, and four would be like I'm using this for something. And eight, EIGHT, is the number eight, and ATE is is a verb, or like I ate a banana. So they're starting their camping gear over there. What do you think the homophones are in this sentence? They're storing their camping gear over there. You should have identified there, and there. So let's take a look at them. They're storing their camping gear over there. They are is how I would break down this contraction. I'm and she are also contractions, but we're focusing on there. So combining two sentences with a contraction. All right, the second homophone is their. This pronoun shows ownership or possession, just like the word my or your. And then the last one is their, which is used to designate that someone or something is in or at a certain place. All right, so I'm going to read some sentences that are missing a word. After each sentence, you're going to just quietly put up one finger if you think it's they are, or the contraction there, two fingers if you think it's there, or three if you think there is in a place. I'm going to clean out the garage if blank helping. I would replace it with they are. Twice a week, Pedro and Gus brought their lunch to school. It would be there. I did that one kind of fast. I apologize. Wait for me over there. Good. There, as in THERE, as in a place or a location. Matt and Amber searched for blank runaway goat. Good. It's number 2 because it's showing its possession. Excuse me. I left my book over there. Which there would it be? It should be THERE, as in a location. And blank staying after school for rehearsal. Which there should it be? They are staying after school for rehearsal. All right, so now at the end of 4.3, there's a blank space on page 38, and I want you to write a sentence using at least 2 of the 3 homophones, there, and there. If you'd like to do all 3, kudos to you, but I'm looking for 2. Can't wait to read your sentences.